We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome and welcome and welcome. Glad to have you here. So tonight, I just want to open it up with a quick prayer. God, please guide the video tonight. And let me be a vessel for your holy word. Speak through me and let me bring goodness, and let all of us here experience your goodness and guide us with your wisdom through your Holy Spirit and through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Hey, we got Angry Floki in the house. We got Logic Rex. We got Survival Never Goes Out of Style. We got Praying Mantis. Yay! Samantha, hi! Everybody, smash that like. So tonight we're going to be talking about why study the Bible, why read the Bible. I mean, we don't have to study it hardcore. I mean, why even read it in the first place? Oh, Gary Lamb's in the house. Hey, Gary. And it was one of those things. We were talking about, I had my prayer group last night, and I had, oh my gosh, why is this color shift going on? Hold on a second. I'll fix that later. Anyway, we were talking about in my prayer group last night and then in church today, the judgment of God. And a couple of people in the prayer group last night brought up the story of Amos and his prediction for the nation of Israel. That God had spoken to Amos, and Amos is like, who am I? I'm just a shepherd. What is this prophecy from God that I have to go tell the nation now? And he submitted his will to God, and he said, okay, I'll do as you have instructed, Lord, and I will go and I will tell this prophecy. And the leaders came back to him saying, what are you doing? If you're going to go prophesize, go to Judah. We don't need that here. He said, look, I'm not a prophet. This is not my job. I just got word from God. God gave me these instructions, so I'm following through on it. And then today in church, oh, hey, Joanne, good to see you. Glad you're here. Today in church, they were talking about Aaron's staff and calling down, judgment of God for what's going on with our political troubles right now. And, I realized that there are these, wonderful stories in the Bible that could actually have impact on my life, but I don't know them because I don't read the Bible. I've read mostly the New Testament. A lot of these stories come from the stories that were shared last night and today come from the Old Testament. And, I was thinking about my resistance to reading the Bible, because my mom reads the Bible every day. She sits down for at least an hour and listens to one of the books of the Bible or maybe just a passage of the Bible and meditates on it and thinks about how it can apply to her life. And it's not like, trying to fit odd pieces together of, here's this random thing and how does it, we can actually, with the internet, and these Bible apps, we can actually search on keywords and things like that of things that we're struggling with and see what the text has to offer us. And I realized, I really should be doing more of this and kind of what's my resistance to it, because here's a book that has survived, thousands of years in the case of the New Testament, and tens of thousands of years and perhaps more in the case of the Old Testament. And it's survived empires. There have been several empires that have risen and fallen since the creation of this book. And it survived all of that. So there's got to be something in there of super good importance for people to be willing to preserve that while an empire falls. I was thinking that I need to dig a lot more into it because, the thing that was most surprising to me when I started to read the New Testament was how much I had been misled about the stories in the Bible. Because, I always thought that, here's Jesus, he gets baptized, he goes, wandering around the nation, preaching and everything like that. He performs miracles, and then he has one bad day. But that's absolutely, very, very far from the truth. Jesus was constantly being hounded and mobs of people constantly wanting to kill him, not just at the crucifixion. I mean, all through his, preaching and everything like that. He was being run out of town. He was telling people things that they didn't want to hear, to the point where they wanted to stone him to death. And that's not how I was taught the Bible. Granted, I got most of the stories in Sunday school, so they watered them down a lot. And then when we were learning the Bible as literature, we weren't really learning the Bible from the Bible. It was reading from a different text that was covering it. Hey, American Nachos in the house. Right on. Yes, you did finally catch me live. I'm glad you're here. So I was realizing, the story of Exodus. I thought I knew that. Here are the Jews, and they are servants or slaves, depending on how you want to translate it, in Egypt. Moses gets put in Moses is born to a Jewish woman. She throws him in the river in the basket of reeds. He gets picked up by the Pharaoh's daughter, raised in the Pharaoh's household, then runs across a Jew that is being whipped by an Egyptian. He kills the Egyptian. He then leaves the palace, and just that whole thing where it's very, very top level kind of things. And then he leads his people out of Egypt after performing a number of miracles, and then they wander around in the desert for 40 years, and then they come to the Promised Land. And the story is actually much deeper and richer than that. It actually goes on for several books in the Bible. It isn't just Exodus. Exodus is them leaving. And then you have, Numbers and things like that, where it's 40 years in the desert is a long time. Now, granted, 40 is kind of a euphemism. From my theology class, we studied Revelations in the book of Daniel. And 40 is kind of whether he slept for a year and a day, nobody knows. It's kind of a once upon a time thing. 40 is used as a stand-in number, like 40 days and 40 nights on the ark. It's a stand-in for we don't know how long, but it was a long time. Hey, Free. No, you cannot get a treat right now. You want to come up? Hold on a second, guys. Come on up. Oh, this is Frijoles. Hello, Frijoles. So she wants to say hi. She wants a TREAT. That's why she's bugging me. But you can't have one right now because we didn't get one before the live. You were asleep. So we're going to put you back to sleep. Oh, go in there. And I'll get you a treat afterwards. So, yeah, that's my little dachshund. So, I heard about Aaron's rod in the sermon today. And, I was like, I know nothing about this. So I figured that I would look it up. And then here we've got from gotquestions.org, what was the significance of Aaron's rod? And it says Aaron's rod or staff played an important part in God's plan to lead the Israelites out of Egypt and into the promised land. In ancient Israeli culture, a rod is a symbol of authority. Shepherds use rods to guide and correct their flocks. That's from Psalm 23:4. When God called the shepherd Moses to lead the shepherd Moses, Moses was a shepherd after he left Egypt for a little while. He went out and hid out in the hinterlands as a shepherd. So, but really, to characterize him as the shepherd Moses, that's a little. God demonstrated his power by performing miracles using Moses' rod. And God also chose Moses' brother Aaron to perform miracles with his own rod. Aaron's rod was the one that turned into a snake in Pharaoh's court. When the Egyptian magi also turned their staffs into the snake that had been Aaron's rod swallowed theirs up. That's from Exodus chapter 7, verses 8 through 10. It was Aaron's rod that God used to turn the water of Egypt into blood, and it was Aaron's rod that summoned the plague of frogs and of gnats, or flies, depending on your translation again. The most famous story of Aaron's rod begins with a few Levites becoming disgruntled about the extra authority given to Moses and Aaron. In Numbers 16, Korah, who was also a Levite, joined with two others, Dathan and Abiram, to incite a rebellion against Moses and Aaron. In verse 3, Korah says to Moses, "You have gone too far. The whole community of Israel has been set apart by the Lord, and he is with all of us. What right do you have to act as though you are greater than the rest of the Lord's people?" Because of this defiance of the Lord's authority, God caused the earth to open up and swallow these three men and their families. However, rather than submit to the Lord, the other tribal leaders joined the revolt. This is in Numbers 16:41, saying, "But the very next morning, the whole community of Israel began muttering against Moses and Aaron, saying, 'You have killed the Lord's people.' The Lord desired to wipe out the whole company, but Moses and Aaron fell on their faces and pleaded with God not to destroy them. God relented and instead sent a plague throughout the company of rebellious Israel. The plague killed 14,700 of them. And I thought that was interesting, because here I wasn't taught much about, what happened, the book of Numbers. There was the Exodus, and then eventually they reached the promised land. But apparently there were troubles along the whole way. And that's, sort of the interesting thing about, how a lot of the Bible is taught is we're not taught the dirty details. And that's one of the things that's excellent about the Bible is that it hasn't been sanitized. That there's sex in there, there's, murder, adultery, all sorts of, this isn't a self-help book, it really gives the darker side of how people can act. And, here you have this guy who led all these people out of captivity, and they're ungrateful. And they're like, why are you given all this extra power? We're all God's chosen people, why not me? Sort of thing. And it was just funny to me that, in all these thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, we haven't changed, and that's why, to me, it resonates. you know. American Nacho says, didn't go to church today, unfortunately. I was driving 8 hours back from DC. Yeah, I was glad I caught the live with you guys about the march. So, but if you ever want to catch a really cool church, I think I put it up before. Where are my banners? Where are my banners? We got to have that one going. But this is my church, and they have they broadcast 10 o'clock Mountain Time, so that's noon Eastern, and 9 o'clock Pacific Time. If you ever want to catch their sermons, and they're really good, and it's a Trump supporting church, so I really like that. So, oh, bless you, Gary. Putting up my Cash App. That's awesome. So, Lawrence says, keep me in your prayers, everyone. I am not myself today. My depression got bad again. Nothing in particular happened. It just seemed to strike without warning. That could be weather, because I'm not doing too well myself today either. To deviate from the Bible a second, I was feeling really down in the dumps about being single, and not knowing, even where to start to meet men or make myself available to meet men. The COVID lockdowns are one thing, but on top of that, it's just, I don't know where I would meet anyone, so yeah, if you guys have any ideas about that, but I just want to finish up with the whole why we read the Bible thing. So, Nacho, you're not a mod? Hold on, let me see if I can fix that. Cancel my channel. I'm gonna have to mute that there. Okay, got it. American Nacho. There you go. Now you're a mod. So, Stevie, hey, you're here too. Welcome. So yeah, it's I realized that I need to get back into the Bible more. I need to actually set a time aside during the day, at least 30 minutes. And I've got the David Suchet that I can listen to. I don't have to read it myself. Here's the link for it's Bible Gateway. And they should have links in there if you just want to look through. But I know that David Suchet, he's probably the best reader that they have up there for the Bible. And I just need to get into it. I need to learn these stories, and not go off of just Sunday or just what I learned in school or things like that. I need to get down into the nitty gritty, because there's so many details. It's like, whoa, I didn't realize that happened. When I got into the New Testament, I didn't realize that Jesus was constantly under threat of being killed his entire ministry. I didn't realize that, while wandering around for 40 years in the desert, that, people were constantly rebelling against Moses and everything else. I mean, I knew about the whole golden calf thing, but it's usually that high level knowledge that I have, and I don't have the details of it. Like I knew about Paul's conversion, Saul. He used to be a persecutor of Christians. and he was, struck down on the road to Damascus, couldn't speak for 3 days. And God came to him saying, who are you to say, whatever that phrase is. And that's the other thing, is I want to memorize this stuff. I want to know, what those actual verses say, and I want to be able to quote them accurately. Well, as accurate as the Bible gets, but that I'm not just winging it on kind of this half-assed knowledge. I want to understand why it is that this book still resonates thousands and thousands of years later. And because, what other book do you know that has lasted that long? What other book do you know that has been a bestseller for that long? What other book do you know has started civilizations? Because really, the entirety of Western civilization is based off the wisdom of the Bible, including science. Trying to reconcile the natural world with what was in the Bible was what led to, the whole creation of the different fields. And there's a lot of psychology in there. There's a lot of, things that have never really changed about who we are as people. That's why these stories still resonate, is we can understand them because we see it around us all the time. So Stevie says, Pam, be patient. There are a lot of good, God-fearing single men. I know, but where to meet them? Church isn't really a hookup place. It seems kind of, but I don't know. Yeah, I still go out there. And my church is small. That's another thing that kind of works against me. I've put up a profile on Christian dating singles, and for Longmont, there are not that many people out there. They're either out of my age group or something else like that. And it's like, it's God's gonna have to put a man in my life. That's just what it is that God's gonna have to do it, because I have no control over it. No control over the situation at all. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so that was something else. Sorry about that. Go back to my banners. But it's just don't get cats. Yeah, no, I don't want to be the crazy cat lady. Although I love cats. I got 2 dogs right now, and I think this guy back here, he might have a problem with cats. So, but yeah, I want to delve deeper in the Bible. I want to listen to the stories. I want to see, what strikes me, what resonates with me, and God's word. Because this is basically the story of, how Christianity came to be. Come on up. Oh, she wants up again. American Nacho says, never give up, never surrender. Yes. And so, yeah, Gary said that I should turn to the wisdom of the chat and ask you guys how I can, make myself available to good Christian men, good Jordan Peterson following Christian men, that sort of thing. So, Yeah, Gary's in the house. Hey, family. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, Samantha P says there are these old Sanskrit tablets of Aniki that are super interesting and seem to follow a similar story as the Bible, but even older. It would not surprise me, because some of those books of the Bible are, tens of thousands of years old. Like the story of Noah, we know is the story of, oh gosh, I can't remember his name, but it's even older than the stories that come out of Exodus and things like that, and that story has been repeated or generated in other cultures and things like that. The Great Flood. They know that there was some sort of flood-like catastrophe that happened worldwide, and so almost every Gilgamesh. Thank you, Shaman. That's it. It's the story of Gilgamesh. So I'm glad to see you here, Shaman. So a lot of these stories are from all over the place, and they were just seen as important enough to keep for this long. And so if they were important enough to keep and protect for that long, there's got to be something in there for me. Like the story of Cain and Abel is only 8 lines long, and you can think about it for hours. 8 lines. It's like a Zen koan almost. But to think about, what would drive a person to murder, what makes one person lucky and another person not lucky, even though they're given all the advantages, all these different things. So American Nacho says, just keep loving yourself and focusing on making sure your house is in order and the rest will fall into place. God is your man right now. Yeah, I don't know if I'm good enough for God to be my man, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. That's how it worked for you. Okay. I will reserve judgment then, because, yeah, if that's how it worked for you, man, it could work for me. I shouldn't be laughing too hard, as it were. Samantha P says, I have the Epic of Gilgamesh book 2, oldest poem ever recorded. Right. Oldest poem ever recorded. So, how amazing is it that we have these things, and that they've been brought forward through time? And what is it about these stories that makes them important even today with our microwaves and our YouTube and everything else? Because the catastrophes still happen in our lives. We have great floods in our life where everything is washed away. And we need to know how to preserve and go forward. American Nacho says, if you want evidence of the floods, go check out Randall Carson on Rogan. Yes. Isn't he the one that talked about the flood at the feet of the Sphinx? That you can tell that it's water damage. I mean, growing up in Missouri, I took one look at that and I'm like, that's water damage. This place wasn't always a desert. But then I've also lived through floods in the desert. When I was out in the Mojave, we got enough rain one year where basically the entire citywide area was lake. So Samantha says, I would say maybe try joining some local clubs of things that you enjoy. Get the overall numbers of contacts you meet up. That's the key. Yeah, because But then again, COVID. I mean, right now, nobody's meeting except online. But I get emails from like my local library of events that are happening there. There was a Longmont board game group that was meeting up, and I thought that might be fun. You know, go out, play some board games with people and meet people that way. You know, because that's one way to do it, is just have friends and have them be like, you know, I know somebody and he's, you know, been trying to find a good woman, sort of thing. So, but man, this video is all over the place today, and that's just how it's going to be today. I had this great idea of what to do. I wrote a lot of down about it, and it is what it is. It is what it is. So, American Nacho said, yeah, those flood happened. The more I did into science, the more you can find evidence of the creator. Yeah, that's the other interesting thing, is that the more we dig into these old stories, you know, that people think are complete hogwash, you know, the more that we find out that they're true. Like there was, what was it? The Mask of Agamemnon. You know, that whole thing was considered a myth. The city of Troy was considered to be a myth until archaeology dug it up. And we find out that there have been 7 cities of Troy, and all on that same spot. You know, because they'd have a war, the city would get razed to the ground, you cover it up, you build a new city on top. Why? Because the location is strategically important for, you know, trade and defense and things like that. So, you know, there's a science, you know, there's that famous saying from Nietzsche, you know, God is dead. And it wasn't a, you know, God is dead proclamation thing like in 9 Inch Nails or something like that, but more of a, you know, we've killed God through science. But then science is also resurrecting God in a way. And I think that's really, really neat. So, Samantha B says, the higher your number of contacts, the better your chances, hands down. Right. But I also find that, you know, I can blame it on being an introvert. I can blame it on my illness. I can blame it on the rain. Yeah. But you know, just making friends seems to be difficult for me at times. I don't know if it's because I'm socially awkward in person or what it is, but hey, Gary Lamb says, what's that saying about faith without what? I can't remember. Yes, faith without works is dead. So, you know, we've got to put our faith into action if we want to actually see our living faith. You know, the only way that our faith is alive is when we put it into the real world. So, yeah, we've got to do the follow through. So I think Gary's making a joke there about, you know, I have faith that God will find me a man, but I need to put things in action to have things work. So I don't know, you know, God can also move mountains. So, but yeah, sometimes we have to help God along. You know, God has us as servants for a reason. You know, we're to do things in God's world as much as God is to do things in God's world. So, yeah, but how are you guys all doing tonight? You know, let's open this up, because I had great plans, and the best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. And this video has gone astray because what I started out wanting to do maybe hasn't turned out so well. But you go there, free. I'm doing stuff right now. Let's open this up. Praying Mantis says, I will remember that phrase. Yeah. And I've seen that, it's like book knowledge. It's one thing to have the knowledge in your head and to have studied something, but it's only when we try and go out and apply it in the real world do we find out all the ways it can go wrong, the different ways that it can go right, that kind of thing. So Survival says, this is the most I've ever paid attention to religion in my life. I think Pam is going to Christian pill me. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I never thought that I'd be this kind of person. I never thought I'd be, a rah religion type person, but it's done so much for me. It's helped me with my relationships. It's helped me with the acceptance of my pain. It's helped me, with all aspects of my life. So, hold on. Joanne Dunn says, there's nothing wrong with that, Survival. Hey, Sam, what's the mustard seed thing? Faith the size of a mustard seed, and we can move mountains. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you too can move mountains. And that was, I think I was the one who told you that, Gary. I think you modded me after I told you that one. So Shaman says, the double slit experiments in science proves it's all very strange. Yes. That light is both a particle and a wave, and that the whole world is plasma and all of that. I mean, they didn't even know about plasma when they did those double slit experiments. So that's really cool. Yeah, and a mustard seed is stupid tiny, so the smallest thing can grow into something vital. Thank you, Samantha. That's awesome. Yeah. Faith the size of a mustard seed. American Nacho says, yeah, I've been blessed so much, but the Lord, sometimes I can't help let it be known. Right. Yeah. God is good. God is good, says American Nacho. So I completely agree. I was able to get rid of a very long-standing, just metric boat ton of depression and anxiety by realizing that, my plans for my life are nothing. And that God has plans for me, and maybe I don't get to know what those plans are. But I'm in God's hands, and God can use me as a tool, and however my life turns out, good or bad, whatever trials and tribulations I have to go through, if those are part of God's purpose to do something even greater, then I'm on board, it's, I at that point, I was able to let go of the expectations that I had of my life. I can strive and work hard to achieve these great and wonderful things. And I can be frustrated in the fact that I can't strive and work for these great and wonderful things, or I can let it go and just say, okay, God, however you want to use me, whatever you want to do with me, do it. Let's see what happens. And I will follow your inspiration. I will follow your guidance. And, if it turns out that I never have a family, I never have kids of my own or anything like that, or any of these things that I want, maybe in fact, it would be better if God has greater plans for me. So gotta let it go. And it's okay. It's okay whatever happens, you know. I may have wanted to write the great American novel, but maybe God said, no, you're going to do this instead. And that's much more important, whatever that is, you know. And if it's in service to God, then great. You know, who am I to judge that? You know, if I get to be a part of God's plans for the world, hallelujah. You know, what a blessing. You know, and maybe even I don't recognize it, or I'll never recognize it in my lifetime, but, you know, years down the line, decades, centuries down the line, somebody else may find it useful. You know, who is Aaron? All they were doing was trying to save their people. And they've become a story that got retold thousands and thousands of years later. Who knows? So, you know, it's one of those things. I've got to leave it up to the Almighty, and, you know, get my own ego out of it, and say, you know, whatever my small pea-brained ideas are, they can't compare to the grand and righteous plans of God. So American Nacho says, if you study quantum mechanics and string theory, you'll start believing. Yeah. Oh, string theory gets spooky. Quantum mechanics. Yeah. Samantha P says quantum mechanics is so interesting. Absolutely. American Nacho says they've been proving recently that more and more of those quantum interactions potentially scale up, which would change so much. Yeah, I mean, that's what's so cool about what they're learning about, you know, the plasma universe. You know, because we are magnetic electric beings. And, you know, the power of prayer and things like that may just be the result of our changing our state of being through prayer, and it actually doing, you know, spooky actions, as American Nacho says here, into the world. You know, we haven't completely disproven that just thoughts, just intentions can change the world. You know, who knows? So, yeah, spooky action at a distance, Samantha P. Yeah. And the spooky action at a distance turns out to be the electromagnetic universe, you know, that everything is in a web of electricity, and we can perturb that web, you know, and the what is it, the entanglement, quantum entanglement, where you can entangle two atoms and get them spinning in the same direction, and then move them, you know, kilometers apart, and have, you know, move one atom up here, and this one moves up in 0 time. You know, that's the spooky action at a distance. You know, that this atom should not know that this one has moved. And if it is moved, there should be a delay for that information to get from point A to point B, but there's no delay. It happens simultaneously. And yeah, Einstein didn't like that very much, but, you know, we've gotten to move past Einstein. So Praying Mantis says, I love you guys. I love you all too. Smart people here. I like smart people. So, yeah, American Naja says, I'm not alone. Sam gets it. Sam says, I love you all so much too. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Everything's vibrational, Samantha. Yes, everything's vibrational. And we don't know, you know, how these things are connected. Survival says, blowing my mind. So, yeah, American Nazi, yep, instantaneous transmission of information, you know, and so, yeah, who says that prayer can't work? Who says that these miracles can't happen? when we're finding out now, all these things that we thought about space and time and everything like that have to be thrown out the window because we know nothing. Samantha P says, so crazy to think how insignificant we are and significant at the same time. I mean, that's what's terrifying sometimes is to think of how significant we may be, like the batting of a butterfly's wings may start a hurricane. Now, that's not really how hurricanes start, but you get it. Now it just says basically giving the light speed barrier the middle finger. Exactly. What is this thing called time? Screw it. No. The TARDIS may be real. Samantha says, so glad we all have so much more in common than just the old boring politics. Yeah. And that it's, oh man, I got into this battle with somebody a couple of days ago, and they keep hounding me, the typical leftist. They can't let it go. Just going on with insults, do you live in a double wide trailer park? How many of your cousins have you gotten pregnant? That sort of thing. And I kept egging this person along, kind of like what we were doing with DG the other night. And finally got him to reveal that, he's just a kid living at home with mommy and daddy still. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you poor thing. You're coming onto Twitter, you hate your life, you don't know how to get positive attention, so you're getting negative attention by being a troll on Twitter. And you just revealed, because you're not smart enough to think about how not to dox yourself. You dox yourself. But and that revealed that he was just a kid. Just a kid. And it's like, no, go grow up, pay some taxes, and then get back to me and talk about politics then. But all you're doing right now is you're regurgitating up things that you heard on the internet and thought were cool, and you're going to go hurt somebody's feelings because you feel powerless in your life. It's like, yeah, you got more problems than me, kid. So... American Nacho said, people like that just have the wrong people around them sometimes. Yeah. Oh, that went down the wrong throat. So, Praying Mantis says, to be infinitely big, you must be infinitely small. Very true. Yes, very, very true. Survival says it's good to get a break from politics. Yeah, right now, even, it's like, it's all out of my hands. Can I do anything? I mean, yeah, the march the other day, it would have been great to show up. I like so many of us here were able to do. That's fantastic to be a part of and to show. But, me where I am, I can't really do much. And it's all in the court's hands and all in these people's hands that are much more powerful than me. So I've kind of taken a break from it. It's like, I don't even want to, I'm not watching any of my usual political commentary and stuff like that. It's just gotten ugly. And so ugly that I'm going to check out for a little while and have fun during the holidays. Have fun with you guys. So American Nacho asks, have you read Ender's Game? I love Ender's Game. That's a great book. Movie was, good enough, but the book was fantastic. So Lawrence says, so true, Sam. Honestly, I have a hard time understanding politics, but I can understand religion and spirituality. Well, you're doing one better than me. I understand politics. Religion and spirituality, not so much. That's really confusing to me. So poor DG. Yeah. Oh, bless you, Gary Lamb. That was the other bit of bad news that I got today. For some reason, my benefits have been docked by 10%, and which is a lot of money. And I got to call up Social Security on Monday and figure out what the hell's going on, because Yeah, that was kind of scary to find. Oh yeah, you're going to be paid this much less. And you know, why it went down, I have no idea. So I get to try and figure that out. So, um, Survival said I would have had to have had my boots on with American Nacho if I had been in DC. Yeah, I can imagine what kind of boots those are too. Stuff kicking boots. So yeah, going back to the quantum physics things, the Ansible is plausible now with the recent breakthrough in quantum mechanics. Yeah, to have instant communication across space, vast distances of space. It's so cool. And it's amazing how, our science fiction writers thought of this stuff, just, dreaming something, oh, wouldn't this be cool if? And then sure as sugar, science ends up saying, yeah, totally plausible. Yeah, we may have something, like that in the future. Joanne asked, did you change your health plans? No, everything's the same. That's what's terrifying about it. This is my base pay that's been changed before any Medicare deductions or anything like that. And yeah, it's I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. So I get to call them on Monday. Samantha B says, Gary, I tried to search. Are you sure it's 100% spelled right? It should be, it may be all lowercase, but yeah, it's Pam Curtis 3. And the 3 is, the Japanese use that number to represent the word Chan. So it's Pam Curtis Chan or Pam Curtis Cutie sort of thing. All right, they say it's new comments. Get me down there. American Nacho says, I'm nerding out so hard, man. Right? I love it when people know this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, y'all are cool group of people. Cool group of people. Samantha P says, probably because of the Rona, random thought, hot chocolate sounds good right now. Yeah, we got snow. So Joanne Dunn says, we're supposed to have gotten an increase. I know, I got an increase last year of like 2% or something like that, 2.06%. And this year I open up, that end of the year mailing that we get, and it was a completely wrong number. So I don't know. I'm going to have to see what it does in my bank account and see, talk to them and go, hey, I think you guys screwed up here. So Samantha P says, I found out that Darwin was told about evolution, went on a DMT trip in South America. Yeah, the Alex Jones thing the other night, and then came back and proved it with his bird experiment. I'm going to have to find that story because I don't know how much of that is true. So Praying Mantis says, same here, got quite a bit of snow yesterday. Yeah, we had snow 2 days in a row. We didn't get that much of it, I think it was only a couple of inches, but yeah, got some snow, got the little birdies in the backyard and the squirrels and everybody, going after the bird seed that I lay down. And so keeping all the little rodents fed. Oh my gosh. Oh, and the hour is almost up. Holy cow. That went fast. We got 6 minutes left. So does anybody have any questions, anything, any good stories from the Bible that you want me to check out? American Naja says, well, I'm going to have to hop off for the night. I'm tired and need to unpack, but if you ever want to do a science theme live stream, I'm so in. I will. Good night to you too, and very happy to share. So, something waiting. Yeah, 6 minutes left. And one of the things that I wanted to tell you guys about is if you wanted to, 6 minutes, you'll stay. Awesome. Good to hear. If you do, I mean, Nacho, you're not going to be able to do this because you need some rest. But if you all, there's a great stream to catch up on for the breakdown of the legal stuff. If you want to break down the Texas case, or any of the other politics that's going on right now. There's a channel you should follow called Viva Fry. Does everybody know about Viva Fry? If you don't, put a double question mark in the chat. So Logic Rex says, that's when you know it was a good live. Time flies. Yep. Good to see you too, Logic. So American Nacho says, oh boy, more to catch up on. Yeah. Oh, there's so much to catch up on. So, that was just a Logic. Okay. So Joanne Dunn does not know. I will make a banner to make sure you guys get the spelling right. So create a banner. He's on YouTube, and I think he actually may have already gone live. There we go. So this is who you want to catch on YouTube, Viva Fry. He does a regular Sunday live stream with Robert Barnes. They break down, they're both lawyers. Robert Barnes is actually involved in a number of the suits. He's actually working for the Trump campaign in doing a lot of these election suits. He was in Georgia, that kind of thing. Viva Fry is a lawyer out of Quebec, I think, up in Canada. So the two of them, there we go. Nacho's got the link. The two of them have been going over all the different cases that are going around, and they hopefully, I believe tonight they'll be able to they'll be breaking down the Texas suit and what happened there. Oh yeah. Oh, the Book of St. Thomas. Yes, I have that. That Shaman says you might want to check out the Book of St. Thomas. It's an apocryphal gospel book. Yeah. The kingdom of God is spread out before men, but men do not see it. That's the quote that I know from the Gospel of Thomas. So, yeah, and then let's see, Nachos. Well, that's not the one. Right above it, the chat jumped on me. So yeah, Viva Fry. Go check him out after this if you want some insight, some cool lawyerly insight into what's going on with all the political moves with the election cases and things like that. So yeah, the Nacho comes through in the clutch, says Survival. And then Nacho says, I've been looking into the removed books. Yeah, the removed books are cool. There was a Book of Moses that got removed. There's also the books that never made it in the first place, like First and Second Enoch. So that has some interesting stuff in it. You tried all of those and they didn't work? I'll have to pull up my Cash App and see what's going on. But I'll get it for you. Do we have time? We got 2 minutes. Okay. Cash App. And thank you, Sam, so much. I appreciate it. Who am I? Yeah. Oh, I've got to turn the brightness down. I am. You can see that. Pam Curtis 3, all one word, no spaces. So $ Pam Curtis 3, all lowercase, no spaces. And that's me on the Cash App. Let me see if, I don't even think that the QR code will come up because it's just, no, screen, stay dark. It went automatic. Stay dark. Oh, this auto brightness is just, no, stay dark. What are you doing? There we go. No. Stupid iPad. So now it won't focus. But yeah. Fucking iPads. Excuse my language. Now it stays dark. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Joanne. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So yeah, sorry, Nacho, I couldn't get it to show up because the brightness kept going. But yeah, it's there we go. American Nacho's got it right. So up your game, Gary. You're trying to help me out and just confusing everybody. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You are well loved, and thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. So, but it is 6 o'clock, so we've got to shut this down. I want to thank everybody for coming in here. Smash the like. You tried that one 5 times, Samantha? Huh. Well, that's what it is. So I don't know why the Cash App isn't working, but we'll try and get it going for next time. Yeah. And it's just going, the screen's just going super bright on me. So, but anyway, I got to let you all go. We're now 1 minute past, but I really appreciate everybody being on here. Thank you for putting up with how scattered this live was tonight. We did do some in the Bible. We did some single life. We did everything science fiction. So next time we'll do a science one. We'll do that for Monday. How does that sound? We'll get into science fiction and science fact. So, oh, I'm glad you liked it. Manta says this was great. So, and yeah, if you guys get a chance, head over to Viva Fry on YouTube and check out him with Robert Barnes tonight. I don't know. Sure. I mean, if Gary's down with that, that's so cool. So, and then American Nacho says, I'm so down. That's awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone, again. And I will see you all same time tomorrow. So, bye.